So here are my two bikes right next to each other. So this is the white one is the Cyrusher Kommoda, and the one behind is called Felt Decree. It's kind of a high-end trail slash enduro bike with huge suspension in the front. The head tube angle is actually very much tilted. I don't remember the exact numbers, and it has very powerful RockShox suspensions in the front and back. I use that bike to go on trail. I don't do anything crazy like Black Diamond kind of trail, but it can handle like trails that don't have much drops or jumps. And so I wanted to compare the Cyrusher with it, because Cyrusher also looks like to be a full suspension bike that can take some sort of trails. So I tried Cyrusher today on some hills that are around my house, and I'll show you the video for that later. But it could actually handle pretty well. One thing that I actually kind of was advantageous for me riding Cyrusher versus my Felt Decree bike was that I felt so much more confident coming downhill with Cyrusher. I know that sounds crazy because the other bike is supposed to do that very well, but I think Cyrusher being like twice heavier than my Felt Decree, even more, and like those fat tires and being it stepped through, I don't know, all these factors together gave me more confidence. But there are definitely some type of trail, downhill trail, that I cannot even think about going on them with this Cyrusher, but I could totally take with my enduro bike. But all in all, I wanted to say that this Cyrusher Kommoda is a very capable bike that made me make this video and compare it to my downhill bike, although they are definitely not in the same class, that they have different capabilities. Actually, one major problem with Cyrusher coming downhill or going on trails in general was this. As you can see, the pedals on those bikes, I tried to actually put the bikes as straight as possible and like compare the pedals at the minimum height, and as you can see, the pedal on the Cyrusher is like about 2 inch, I would say, or less, below my trail bike. And that kind of cause problem when you're going over things. But one thing that an electric bike has, one advantage that electric bike has over a regular bike, is that when you're going up and you want to go over some rock or something, well, of course with the regular bike you have to pedal, and if one foot is up, the other one is down, and if you don't have enough ground clearance, you're gonna hit that rock. But with electric bikes, especially these kind of bikes that have the throttle, as you can see here, I can just twist the throttle like a motorbike and keep my feet as high as possible. So I would put my feet in this position, which would definitely give me enough ground clearance at this point. It's comparable to any other bike, and then use the throttle to go over that thing, and definitely I won't hit that, or it wouldn't be worse than my trail bike. So that advantage is very important, that kind of make this bike kind of comparable to the Felt Decree. Just give you some numbers. The weight of this Cyrusher Kommoda is like around, with the battery it's about 70 pounds, but my trail bike is definitely under 30 pounds. So that also, I feel like that kind of gave me more confidence coming downhill on relatively flat downhill, but it could be as steep as I usually take with my trail bike. But I get more confidence with my Cyrusher because I think it has definitely a lower center of gravity, and it being a step through, maybe just like in my mind I know that okay, if I'm feeling that I'm falling on one side, I can totally just jump off the bike easily, while I can't do that same thing with my trail bike. The other thing that I wanted to compare is the actual width of the tires. So this trail bike is supposedly have like relatively wide tires, I think is 240 millimeters, something like that. But this guy, it has like totally like, oh sorry, this one is 2.4 inch and this one is like 4 inch, and that also adds to the confidence of me taking this bike on a downhill, uphill, somewhere with rocks and gravel and all that. So yeah, all in all, I think this Cyrusher kinda is a new, that might be a big word, but I feel like this bike opened up a new era in biking, because it's the only bike that I know which, of course there are so many fat tire electric bikes these days, but this is the only one that I know of which is a step through, full suspension, goes front and back, and the suspension is actually something I mean relatively good. Of course it's not comparable to like actual downhill and enduro bikes, but it's good. Also, one thing that I wanted to compare, you can probably see it here, the head tube angle is, if you watch any mountain bike review, one of the main factors that is mentioned is the head tube angle. So it's the angle of that head tube versus the ground, and the more tilted it is towards the rider, it gives more confidence to the rider to go downhill, because there's less chance for you to actually flip the bike from the front. So yeah, and this head tube angle for the Cyrusher, as you can see, it's not of course as tilted as my enduro or trail bike, but it's quite comparable. I would say it's definitely more than a regular cross-country bike head tube angle. And yeah, this is a very comfortable, very good looking bike, I would say. I mean, it's my opinion, not definitely everybody else's, but I feel like these two bikes can sometimes go hand in hand in some relatively easy trails. Well, I don't want to start a fight on the internet comparing these two bikes, but yeah, for me, who I'm not a really expert mountain biker, but I enjoy going on trails and I enjoy going uphill, downhill, not just cross country regular trails. Maybe you could say somewhere between medium to hard trails. I think I can do that now with both of these bikes, which is quite interesting, because before this there were so many few 20-inch wheel tire bikes, electric bikes, that you could kinda say the same thing about them. So hope you enjoy my review. I'm not a YouTube reviewer by any means, so I hope you guys liked my video. The good thing is I'm not gonna ask to subscribe or like my video, because I really don't care. Thank you. I'm gonna come down this hill with Cyrusher Kommoda to see how the brakes would work. It's hard to show exactly how steep this downhill is. I can totally say it's like double of what it looks. another hill, and I did it through this route, and now there are two downhill paths, which I'm not gonna take it with the Kommoda. If I had my trail bike, I might have tried it, but still it needs a lot of skills.
Exercise ring closed.
And Siri, I don't know why you're talking. So I'm just gonna take this trail back down. But what I wanted to find out is that, yeah, definitely this bike, although the front suspension looks pretty aggressive, but it is not by any means a downhill bike. So here I'm trying to show you how it would look like to go over some bumps on the road with Cyrusher Kommoda. As you can see, I can easily handle a bump like as high as like 4 or 5 inches, and I try to go over it with different speed, and as long as I'm aware that I'm going over something relatively tall on the road, I can totally handle it by keeping my feet on the right position. But as you can see here, the last time I tried to just bring my foot down, and you see how it hits the ground.